Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnanam Jana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Praise English Srila Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 16, Text 17. O Lord, you are the Supreme Director of the Brahminical culture. You are considering the Brahmanas to be in the highest position. Is your example for teaching others. Actually, you are the supreme worshipper of deity, not only for the gods, but for the Brahmanas also. Purport. In the Brahma Samhita, it is clearly stated that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes. There are undoubtedly many demigods, the chiefs of whom are Brahma and Shiva. Lord Vishnu is the Lord of Brahma and Shiva, not to speak of the Brahmanas in this material world. As mentioned in Bhagavad-gita, the Supreme Lord is very favorable towards all activities performed according to Brahminical culture, or the qualities of control of the senses and mind, cleanliness, forbearance, faith in scripture, and practical and theoretical knowledge. The Lord is the super soul of everyone. In Bhagavad-gita it is said that the Lord is the source of all emanations. Thus, He is also the source of Brahma and Shiva. From the very beginning, Srimad Bhagavatam establishes its purpose of pinpointing, focusing on the supreme absolute truth, worshipper and worshipable object. Satyam Param Dhimahi. It is a source or perennial source of contention. Who is supreme? We find among the followers of Vedic culture, some say that Krishna is supreme. They are right. Some say yes, Krishna, but actually Vishnu aspect, Narayan. He is the original source of whom Krishna as an avatar. Others propose Lord Shiva as supreme. And others say Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti. What we know as Bahiranga Shakti. Bahiranga Shakti means Durga Devi. Bahiranga means she's the external potency of Lord Vishnu. That's the Vaishnava understanding. But the Shastras, they refer to Durga as Adya Parashakti. She herself is the source of everything. The original supreme power, the source of everything. Then there are Shauryas, worshippers of the sun, Ganapatyas. These are all within Vedic culture. And in the modern, more perverted form of Vedic culture, we have many people proposing that Sai Baba 1 is supreme or Sai Baba 2 is supreme, and various others whose names we won't mention here to further desecrate the sanctity of this assembly. Then there are others also who say that all are supreme. This is pantheism or polytheism, the many gods. Pantheism means to accept everything as supreme. Everything is God. Polytheism means to accept that there are many gods of equal stature who are all supreme. And then there are others who say that ultimately the supreme is unmanifest. Everything comes from unmanifest. And there are others who say that there is no Supreme. It's called atheism. There are others who propose that man himself is the supreme manifestation of chance, and thus human society should be served. Humanists, another branch of atheism. Then outside the Vedic culture, there are those who say that your Krishna is not supreme, our Jesus is supreme, or Allah is supreme. So in this way, there are many different opinions. Even within the Vedic literature, we'll find that there seems to be a rapprochement between the Shaivas and the Vaishnavas, inasmuch as sometimes we find in Shastra Lord Vishnu saying that, well, actually Lord Shiva is just as good as me. Anyone who differentiates between me and Lord Shiva, he never gets the mercy of either of us. And Lord Shiva says the same about Lord Vishnu. To settle this point, to get a definitive understanding, the wife of Lord Shiva, who herself is obviously mistakenly considered supreme by those who consider her supreme, because she herself was confused in the matter, she asked Lord Shiva, then what is the topmost method of the many types of worship? To which he unequivocally replied, Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnor aradhanam param. Of all types of worship, the topmost is the worship of Lord Vishnu. But then, to again make the matter confusing, he said, Tasmat parataram devi tadhyanam samarchanam. That superior to the supreme, which doesn't seem to be a very logical proposition, is worship of that which is in relation to the supreme, namely his devotees. And this point is being discussed here in this purport, that who is supreme? Because previous to this, here in this section of Bhagavata, we find Lord Vishnu stating that the Brahmanas are supreme, and that I'm only praised because of my devotion to them. Whereas the Brahmanas qualification for being a Brahmana is to be a Vaishnava. A real Brahmana is a Vaishnava, because Brahma Janatiti Brahmana. We find, according to caste, there are so many Brahmanas. But if they are worshippers of demigods, as many of them are not clear that worship of Vishnu is the sole worship of Vishnu, without diverting to other demigods, this alone is the duty of a Brahmana, then even though they may be very learned and very expert in rituals, they're not actually Brahmanas. Shatkarma Epano Vipra Mantra Tantra Visharadaha Avaishnava Guru Nasyad Vaishnava Swapacha Guru. Who Brahmana means one who has knowledge of the absolute truth, therefore Brahmana should be a guru. Please don't lean against the column. Not saying that there's one. Who's that boy at the back? Please don't lean. You can sit down, but don't lean against the column. So Brahmana is meant to be the guru of all the different varnas. But he cannot be a guru even if he's expert in Shastra, in various ritualistic procedures. He's unqualified to be a guru if he's not a Vaishnava. Whereas a Vaishnava, if he's from a supposedly lower caste, but he is a Vaishnava, then he must be a guru. So Brahma means Brahma Janatiti Brahman. Who knows Brahman? Who knows what is the absolute truth? Who knows what are the Vedas? Who knows what is the Vedic conclusion? So if we say Smarta Brahmana, but actually one who is simply Devavadarata, attached to the Vedic rituals, or who's a Brahmana by caste but not a Vaishnava, he's not actually a Brahmana. He may be called, in the language of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Vyavaharik Brahmana, or conventionally accepted Brahmana. But real Brahmana is Paramarthik Brahmana, one who's situated on the spiritual platform of knowing. Kim tad Brahma kim adhyatma. What is Brahma? What is the spiritual situation? The Brahmana cannot be a fool. We have this temple we should consider, this is Ananta Shesh, so the pillars are not meant for leaning on. You can sit on the floor, that's allowed, or stand on it. So, Brahmana means very wise and learned person who's fit to instruct others. But in Bhagavad-gita we find, Kamaistaista hridajnana prapadyante devataha anjavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyautamedhasam. That those who worship demigods for the sake of temporary material benefits, they are ipso facto foolish, because if we're worshipping if we want temporary material gains, that in itself is foolishness. So, anyone who's worshipping demigods is a fool, and how can a fool be a Brahmana? Then how can a demigod worshipper be a Brahmana? Brahmana must be a Vaishnava if he's actually a Brahmana. And Vaishnava, he's automatically a Brahmana. So this kind of Brahmana is the type who Lord Krishna, here Lord Vishnu, he is saying, I get my eligibility for being God from the Brahmanas. But here in this purport, Prabhupada clarifies that actually the center is Lord Vishnu. Yes, the worship of Brahmanas is the topmost, even more than that of Lord Vishnu, because Lord Vishnu himself establishes that. Like Bhaktya Puja Vadika. Because he said so, because he considers it thus, therefore the Vaishnavas and Brahmanas, they are considered superior, or their worship is considered superior. And actually, that is because of Lord Vishnu saying so. Because he is most authoritative. Because he is actually the object of worship. Therefore, the Brahmanas become more worshipable by his saying so. Otherwise, he himself is the reservoir of all knowledge, all love, all pleasure, all power, and therefore he is naturally worshipable by all. Even the Brahmanas, whatever knowledge or power they have, that is also dependent upon Lord Vishnu. Matasmriti jnanam apohanam cha. Everything comes from him. The knowledge the Brahmana has, the ability to do anything, the ability to praise the Lord, that comes from him himself. Just like we find Dhruva Maharaj, an uneducated young boy, but when he was just touched by the conch shell of Lord Vishnu, then he was invested with the ability to praise Lord Vishnu in a manner so wonderful that it is even today recorded in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is none different from Krishna. So all ability and all everything comes from Krishna. Therefore he is the natural object of worship for all living beings, and he himself accords great respect to those who worship him in the best way, namely the real Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. And in Gaudiya Vaishnava theology, following on from that which is given in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted two particular points, or two major points from each of the four sampradayas that were established in the world before his coming. They were established in the world to pave the way, to show the way of the topmost, Unatajvala Rasa Swabhakti Shriyam, the topmost devotional service that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was to show. So the other sampradayas were there, and they all had wonderful transcendental qualities, of which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted two from each sampradaya. From the Sri Vaishnava sampradaya, one of the points that he accepted was their recognition of the devotees. They worship the devotees, which actually recognizing devotees is one of the characteristics of entering into actual devotional service. Actual devotional service begins on the platform of Madhyamadika. In the Kanishta Adhika, it's called Bhakti, but it's not Shuddha Bhakti, because it's called Prakrita Bhakti. Prakrita means on the material platform. Bhakti means not on the material platform. Bhakti means Sarva Padi Vinirmuktam Tatparadvaina Nirmalam Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Bhakti means going beyond all material designations and engaging all the senses in the service of the master of the senses, who is Rishikesh, Adhokshaja, beyond the modes of material nature. So on the Kanishta Adhika, there is mundane concept. What shall I get? I shall worship God, and what shall He do for me? What shall I get out of it? It's self-centered. Acharya meva haraye pujas tad shraddhayam vate. Na tad bhakteshu chanyeshu sabhakta prakrita smritaha. With faith, the Kanishta Adhikari worships the Lord, the deity, but he doesn't recognize devotees. He doesn't recognize the position of others, and therefore is known as a materialistic devotee, whereas the Madhyam Adhikar is typified by Ishvare tad adhineshu balisheshu vishadsucha prema maitri kripopeksha yakaroti sa madhyamaha. Madhyam Adhikar, in the Madhyam Adhikar, there is word offering of love to the Supreme Lord, friendship to the devotees, and being merciful to the innocent non-devotees and avoiding the envious non-devotees. So real bhakti begins with one of these symptoms is recognizing who are devotees and offering all respect to them. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu picked up this point, he incorporated this point in his teachings, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his very being, showed how the position of the devotee is superior even to that of Krishna, because he is Krishna. But he took the position of a devotee, considering that to be better, considering the position of Krishna to be insufficient. He took the position of a devotee, as seeing that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, but the enjoyment experienced by the devotees of Krishna in their service to him and love for him exceeds that of Krishna. Krishna is the Vishaya Vigraha, or the subject of love, prema, but devotees, they are Ashraya Vigraha, they are the receptacle of that love. So they have the love more than Krishna. So Krishna took the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he took the position of Srimati Radharani, the topmost devotee, and in this way demonstrated that the position of the devotees is more than that of Krishna himself. And in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, in its esoteric or essential feature is more focused on the worship of Srimati Radharani than that of Krishna. This is not publicized in the beginning stages, but ultimately that's more focused on her because, why is that? Again the center is Krishna. Because Krishna is more pleased when his devotees are pleased, and she is the topmost devotee through Anayaradito Nunam Bhagavan Haririshvara. She worships him the best. So Krishna is pleased with her the most. And Krishna, he becomes more pleased when his devotees are pleased, and she is the topmost devotee through whom all bhakti is to be offered, and through whom all bhakti is manifested. So by pleasing her, bhakti becomes full. Bhakti is possible. So Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they know this secret, that they shall try to please, not that they're negligent in their worship of Krishna, because it comes to the same point. If we try to please Radha, then how should we please Radha? By pleasing Krishna, because she's pleased when Krishna is pleased. And then how should we try to please Krishna? By pleasing Radha, because he's more pleased when she is pleased. In this way, there's a competition going on, and devotees, they join this competition by, the devotees, they are very pleased to see Radha and Krishna together and serve them. So the absolute truth is served by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas not as Krishna. We recognize Krishna as the absolute truth, but if we say Krishna, that means Radha Krishna. If we're to say Krishna, we have to say Shri Krishna, which means Radha Krishna. Because Krishna, he is never satisfied or full or happy or complete unless he is with Radha. So the two are to be worshipped together. They must be worshipped together to fulfill Krishna's happiness. So Radha Krishna together is Ata Prahit Suraj Nahi Jani. So Radha Virahit Krishna Nahi Mani. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. Just as we cannot imagine a sun, S-U-N, Suraj, without heat. The cold sun, is there such a thing? The very cold sun. No, sun means hot. So in the same way, we cannot imagine or we cannot recognize Krishna without Radha. Krishna means Radha Krishna. So even worship of Krishna alone, Vasudeva, that is the beginning of theism. But it may also, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has pointed out, that may also tend towards impersonalism. Because if we say Krishna, we only worship Krishna, then with Krishna himself he's feeling lonely. Where are my devotees? Prabhupada comments in one purport that we never see a picture of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu alone. That's not considered very bona fide. At least Lord Nityananda must be there. Someone must be there. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is never alone. Always must be with someone. So Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Personality of Godhead, not alone. It's not me and Krishna. That's it, reality. The Supreme Absolute Truth means Krishna and me. No. But it's Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevaman. He is served by millions and millions of devotees. So in the picture or on the temple we establish Radha Krishna, sometimes Lalita Vishakha, sometimes Ashtashaki. But actually Radha Krishna are always accompanied by Sahasra Shata. That's also just, Sahasra Shata means 100,000, a lakh actually. But that's only indicative, because Krishna is always accompanied by millions of devotees. So if we're serving Radha Krishna, then there must be Lalita, Vishaka, all the Sakhis and Sakas and the whole spiritual world, if we're actually worshipping Krishna. So this Vasudeva conception, that is a beginning. Then, or say, Purushottam, Jagannath, general conception, Jagannath, or Sitaram, that's more developed understanding, that the Lord is performing pastimes with Sita. And that appears to be, from a worldly perspective, to be very pious, but the more expanded understanding of Godhead is that of Dwaraka Krishna with many wives. People think many wives. From our perspective, many wives. From Krishna's perspective, just a few, because He's the Lord of every living being. So to manifest only 16,108 wives, that's just a few for Him. And most of full understanding of Godhead is Krishna, unlimited. Gopis, Gopas, and any number can come. Sita Ram, that means only Sita can worship Ram in the conjugal, Sringara. Or with Dwarakesh, that's also 16,108, and that's it, close shop. Although there may be maidservants of the queens also. But with Krishna, He can accept any number of lovers. More may come. Open door, welcome, no bars. The Dandakaranya rishis, they saw Lord Ram, and they were attracted on the spiritual platform to His extraordinary transcendental beauty. And they wanted to enter into a relationship with Him by which they could serve the Lord in appreciation of His beauty. But He said, sorry, not this time. You come next time. I'm coming again as Krishna. That time it is possible. So what they desired, that could be fulfilled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna, who has unlimited. He can take the whole world and fully reciprocate with everyone. Nevertheless, His devotees recognize how they don't come to Krishna. No one can come to Krishna thinking, how I shall enjoy Him. But only by thinking, how can I serve Him? So, it's not that there's any competition, that Krishna will accept so many gopis, even apparently new gopis may come, and will there be some competition, or will Krishna be overstrained? There's no such thing. Because in the super realm of service, Vaikuntha world means the world of service. So in that realm, the Golok, Radha Krishna are the center. And everyone is there to serve. They want to see Krishna happy. So they know that He will be most happy by being served by Srimati Radharani. Therefore the whole Vrindavan Leela centers on how to bring Radha and Krishna together. Everything centers. Some devotees in Vrindavan Leela are apparently more inclined to Krishna, and some apparently more inclined to Radha, and some in between. but they all serve the same purpose, ultimately, of bringing together Radha and Krishna, who sometimes by the arrangement of Leela Shakti to nourish the pastimes of Radha and Krishna more. Sometimes they are separated, and then again that gives devotees some service to do, how to bring them together, and then when they're together to enjoy their pastimes. So this is the particular contribution of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers, understanding what is Satyam Param as described in Srimad Bhagavatam. What is that? Param Satya. Param Satya means most powerful, most opulent, but above all, most loving. So Krishna, he is Prem Purushottam, whereas Lord Ram is Maryada Purushottam. Lord Vishnu, he is Aishvarya Purushottam. But Krishna, not even Aishvarya is there, Maryada is there, but not considering that very much. Krishna is seeing Prem without any limits, no consideration. That is the special feature of Krishna. That if this Aishvarya, which is the very definition of God, if that is an obstacle in praying, then that also should be dispensed with. Nothing is important to him but the love he reciprocates with his devotees. And that's why it's so difficult for us in the material world to understand Krishna. Because we are bereft of that prema. And we see others, we judge others in terms of their opulence and power. Who is considered a very great person in this world? Who has opulence and power? But opulence and power, that brings some prestige. But that is quite different from love. One may control others by monetary power, by bribing them or paying them, or by brute force, by fear, one may control. So people tend to think of God, who is the most powerful. But power is not all in all. Sometimes different examples are given, or people think, well, some Baba must be God because he has some Shakti, he has some power. He can make some ashes come out of pictures and things like this. But Shakti that is intrinsic to Krishna. But the Shakti is not all in all. Power, yes, he can destroy millions of universes. He can create millions of universes. Yes, he can do. But he's not as much interested in that as he is interested in sucking the breast of his mother. Who can understand this? Who can understand this? Who themselves are not interested in opulence and power, but who are only interested in love, they can begin to understand Krishna. Therefore, Janma Ishvarya Shruti Shribhir Edamana Vadapuma Naiva Hatya Vidhatam by Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. One who is no longer interested in promoting himself, that I am from a very aristocratic background, I'm very opulent, I'm very beautiful, I'm very learned. One who is no longer bewildered by such things, but has no interest in prestige. Rather he sees Tava Pratishta, Sukara Bhishta. He sees all this prestige which the whole materialistic civilization is mad after. He sees it as attractive as the stool of a pig. So one who is finding material opulence and progress and prestige as attractive as the stool of a pig, then he can begin to think about worshipping Krishna. Krishna belongs to those persons who have no other belonging, who can actually say, Radha Krishna Pranamo Jugame Kishore Divane Marane Gati Anahimo. We can say, we can sing. But when we actually feel like that, when we actually have no desire for anything else but the service of Radha and Krishna, then only can we begin to enter that. So we may feel ourselves long way, long way, but this is our goal. This is the only goal of the Krishna conscious movement. That everyone should go to Krishna to serve Radha and Krishna. We're praying in the morning. We sing it every day, so due to that we may sing it somewhat mechanically without thinking. But we're singing every day that E Nivedana Dharo Shakhi Ranagataga, make me a follower of the Sakhis, the personal attendants of Srimati Radha. It's not a very small thing to ask for. That is a position more than Brahma. That is a position more than Uddhava. That is a position more than Rukmini. It's a very great attainment. And how can we aspire? We have no qualification, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pushing us. Come. He is Radha, come to call others to Krishna. We say he is Krishna, but he is Radha Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahayam. He's Radha Krishna, but actually, ontologically he's Krishna, but more he's Radha. He's not in the mood of Krishna. He's in the mood of Radha. Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam. Nomi Krishna Surupam. He is Krishna, but he's overwhelmed by the loving feelings of Srimati Radharani. Therefore he's become Gauranga. He's no longer Shyamasundar. He is Gaurasundar. He has taken his Gauranga, taken up the bhav and duty of Gaurangi, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is canvassing, make Krishna happy. In the mood of Radha, he is canvassing all the jivas, make Krishna happy. Come to Krishna. Don't remain separate from Krishna. Come to Krishna in the spiritual world. So, he is Radha. If Radha had come personally, then no one would have listened. The foolish people, they consider her a loose woman who left her husband to go with this knave Krishna. So the pious people, the moral people, they will not want to listen to Radha. They think she is of poor character. So that Radha came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and exhibiting the behavior of an ideal sannyasi, no one can criticize. He preached, Ramya Kachiti Pasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita Aradhya Bhagavan Rajay Satanaya Tadhama Vrindavana. He preached that the Bhagavan is to be worshipped, not wives, husbands, children, buildings, university degrees, cats, dogs, motor cars. These things are not to be worshipped. Bhagavan is to be worshipped. Who is that Bhagavan? Rajesha Tanaya, Krishna, son of Nanda Maharaj, and his Dham is Vrindavan, especially Krishna, Vrindavan. That Krishna in Vrindavan. And the topmost method of worship is that which is given by the Vrajavadhu, the wives of Vrindavan, who left their husbands, apparent husbands, to worship Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to preach it. Otherwise it's not possible to preach in the world. It appears to be contradictory to the Vedic injunctions, which reject the immorality of women leaving their husbands. It is immoral. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very strictly following the principles of the topmost position of morality in Vedic culture, the sannyasi, so no one could fault his behavior. He preached that which is inconceivable to the worldly moralist. So at least they shall have to think about it and take it seriously. Otherwise, why is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying? What is the mystery that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the most moral person, he rejected Chota Haridas, fully rejected his dear devotee for even slightly mentally thinking of anything immoral. And that same Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has pointed the way towards the worship. The method of worship of the gopis of Vrindavan is the topmost method of worship. So what is the mystery here? Is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu contradicting himself? Is he philosophically unsound? It doesn't seem so, because he was so thoroughly versed in Vedanta that he defeated the greatest Vedantavadis of his time. He showed how the concepts of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Prakashananda Saraswati, their understanding of Vedanta is not Vedanta. What they consider to be Vedanta, they have a long way to go. They have to accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's understanding. So he's not philosophically weak. He's not morally weak. He's not mentally weak. He's quite sound in as much as he's principled. So what is this that he is recommending? That the topmost worship is that given by the gopis who are not Brahmanas, who are worshipable by Brahmanas, but not Brahmanas themselves. So what is this? Those who are actually desirous of understanding what is Satyam Param, they shall have to investigate this. And if we are to impartially investigate, we shall have to conclude, if we are actually not biased, if we are not dogmatic, and if we study, we'll find Chaitanya Daya Kata Karaha Vichar, Vichar Karele Chitte Pade Chamatkar. If we see what is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to have given these topmost teachings, what is actually the topmost method of worship, then we will be struck by wonder that this is inconceivable. Who can conceive of Satyam Param being a cowherd boy with a lump of yogurt in his hand, chasing after cows with a stick? Who can conceive? No one can conceive, because it is inconceivable. Who can conceive that the Supreme Absolute Truth, the Lord of all multi-universes, who is worshipped by Yang Brahma, Ronendra, Rudra, Marutais, Tunanti, Divais, Tavai, Vedo, Samo, what is that? Vedo, Samo, Pagama, Anishadai, Gayanti, Yang Samadaha, Dhyana, Vastita, Tatkatena, Manasa, Pashanti, Yang, Yegino, Yasyanta navidu sura suragana devaya tasmai namaha. That supreme absolute truth who is worshipped by all the demigods, whose glories are sung by all the Vedic literatures, who is the object of meditation for the perfected yogis, and who even the great demigods and demons, they cannot find the limit of his glories or power. That same Krishna, supreme absolute truth, is lamenting in separation when he does not get the association of Radha, who appears to be just a cowherd girl from some village somewhere in the middle of nowhere. It's a long way from anywhere. There's Hastinapur one side, and then Dwarka here, and Varanasi, Kashi this side, and there was no Agra, presumably, at that time. Mathura, that was a big city close by. But Vrindavan is just, what is this Vrindavan? What is the importance of Vrindavan? From the worldly point of view, no importance. From the worldly point of view, looking after cows, no importance. And Radha, no importance. This is achintya. That's cannot be seen. People say, show me God. They expect God will be someone who will come and they'll faint by seeing Him. As we see there are so many descriptions. What is this? If we find in the Abrahamic scriptures, they're saying if you were to see Him, you could not live. You could not bear to see Him. But Krishna, you can see, touch, play with, steal his lunchbox. If one can accept the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Inconceivable. Who will consider him God? Persons who are imbued with the mercy, who really have no interest in anything else but serving him, they can understand. So Krishna, he gives more importance to the devotees, because why does Krishna give more importance to the devotees? Because Krishna himself considers praying as the topmost principle, and when Krishna examines, he finds the devotees have more love for me than I have for them, therefore they are more than me. Therefore he gives more importance to them. So who is the topmost actually? Is it Krishna or his devotees? Very difficult to say. Because Krishna, he is topmost. If we examine in an analytical manner, Krishna is the topmost. But then Krishna himself gives more importance to his devotees. And it appears that even they have more love than he has, and he considers love the topmost. So, from our point of view, Krishna is the topmost. From Krishna's point of view, his devotees are the topmost. And, well, Krishna's point of view is more than ours, so we'll have to surrender to that and accept that the devotees are topmost. And therefore, Gauriya Vaishnava means more than worship of Krishna, worshipper of Radha. So let us pray for the mercy of the Vaishnavas, that we may also someday become Vaishnavas, and then we can understand who are Vaishnavas and worship them. Hare Krishna. Is there any question or comment about this? What about what? Ladu Gopal. What about him? Their worship is worship of Krishna. But we worship Krishna with Radha. That is Krishna worshipped by Nanda Yashoda. So that is not rejected in Gauriya Vaishnavism. But we know what Nanda and Yashoda don't know. That when Ladu Gopal goes to sleep, Mother Yashoda puts him to sleep, then that same Laddu Gopal gets up and goes and dances with the gopis. So they don't know that. We have some knowledge of some secret.
You are saying that we are worship of Radha Krishna. Even in Islam in temple, now they worship Gopalji, Nasi, Father, Laddu Gopal, now this is
in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's line, the focus is on Radha and Krishna. So we will, in general we can say we can please him more if we focus on Radha and Krishna. I was told that in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya that when people get married they give them Gopal deity. Maybe the idea that you worship him. In South India there's so many deities, Santana Gopal. People without children, they're married 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. They go to, no children, they go to worship Santana Gopal at Managudi and so many places. So the idea that, well, we'll worship Krishna who's a young boy like this, and we'd like to get our own young boy like this. So maybe. Only, it's easier from our position here in the material world, it's easier for us to appreciate Laddu Gopal, young boy, who steals butter and all this kind of thing. It's difficult to appreciate Radha Krishna because we can appreciate Laddu Gopal without any danger of becoming entangled in the mundane lusty desires that may arise if we prematurely try to consider the Leela of Radha and Krishna. Because without understanding what is this Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, the spiritual exchange between Radha and Krishna, we may mistake that for some mundane exchange. So we could say that is safer. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's point us towards the gopis who took all risk to worship Krishna, but we shouldn't take the risk of falling into mundane lust. So therefore we are recommended to approach the worship of Radha and Krishna very carefully. Again in the language of Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, Pujala Ragapata Gaurava Bhange, that we should worship the Ragapata. Not that we prematurely try to jump into Raga Nuga Bhakti, but rather we should worship the devotees on that platform and pray for their mercy that we may become qualified to follow in their footsteps. Therefore the method of worship that is recommended is Nam Sankirtan. By Nam Sankirtan we should begin our worship of Radha and Krishna. And as we become purified by not leaning on the temple pillars and chanting Hare Krishna, as we develop our Seva Bhav, then by chanting the holy names, the form, qualities and pastimes of Krishna will manifest. Take the mic, please.
Many people here, Krishna to speak, Bhagavad-gita, Krishna. Saying all different people who have different expertise. When we discuss with them, they may quote some verse from their scripture, some Purana, their own scripture, how to resolve that.
How to counteract those who quote saying that Shiva is supreme or Shakti is supreme. It's a big topic. Prabhupada recommended saying like this, that Bhagavad-gita is accepted as the topmost evidence by all schools of Vedic culture, And in Bhagavad-gita it's established that Krishna is supreme. Matah parataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananya. That was Prabhupada's easy approach, or shortcut approach. Otherwise it becomes a very big job. Then you have to go through, just like Madhvacharya establishing that all the names of demigods. Some place in the Vedic literature says Varun is supreme, sometimes says Indra is supreme, sometimes says Surya is supreme. Establishing that these are actually names of Vishnu. So it becomes a very big job. Otherwise you can just say in Bhagavad-gita, Lord Krishna says, Matah prataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya, that's it, finished.
Regarding Satya Nam Samasthana. The Lord Shiva is also very good.
Yes.
And people in general, most of them worshiping Lord.
But they don't worship him as Vishnu Tadiya. They worship him as Swatant Ishva. That is a mistake.
Swatantra. Those who are
but that also, that's already answered in Gita, that Yepyanya Devata Bhakta, you know the verse yourself. Shradayanta. What is it? Yepyanya Devata Bhakta Yajante Shradayamrita Tepi Mameva Kauntaya Yajantya Vidhi Purvakam. That worship of demigods is ultimately meant for me, but it's done in the wrong way. If we worship demigods without clearly understanding and recognizing their relationship with Lord Vishnu, then it is improper. Very clear in Bhagavad-gita. Many people like to quote the first two lines of this verse. Yepi anya devata bhakta yajante shradhayamrita. 3 lines. Tepi mameva kaunta. That is meant for me, Krishna says. But then Krishna qualifies that. Yajantya vidhi purvaka. It's meant for me, but they're doing it improperly.
What was the beginning of the system that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted 2 things from his Goswamitha?
Yeah.
One of the 2 is one is accepting that the worship of the devotee or recognizing the position of the devotee.
Yeah.
And another point
from Ramanuja Sampradaya? Yeah, from the Ramanuja Sampradaya, the other point was the worship of the deity, accepting him as eternal. No, that's from the Madhva Sampradaya. What's the other point from the Ramanuja Sampradaya? The Abhito Yadni, what is that? I'm just now not remembering, sorry. I can tell you afterwards if you like.